Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Hopcast.
Thanks for coming back, everyone.
I'm Brad Chmielewski.
My name is Ken Hunnemeder.
And we are getting in the summer spirit here with fruit beers.
Absolutely. They are all the rage these days. And it's June here in Chicago, so finally the time of year that we've all been waiting for. Mm-hmm. And I suppose all the beers are coming out that we've been waiting for, too.
Right. So we had grapefruit. Then we had, what was after grapefruit? There was something in between there for a little bit. Grapefruit was the king.
Yeah, it was kind of, I would say, Stiegl Radler, at least in Chicago, was very popular. Followed closely by Ballast Point's Grapefruit Sculpin.
Right. And then Hell or High Watermelon from 21st Amendment was pretty big.
Yeah, and that kind of set off the chain of some watermelon beers.
And now there are a lot of watermelon beers, and that's what we have today.
Yes. So you can see, I mean, we have kind of a big boy and then a small guy. So you're getting to see a little bit of the trends here.
As brewery size, not their same bottle size.
Correct.
Okay.
But it's interesting to see a brewery like New Belgium grab onto a small noticeable trend of watermelon beer or fruit beer and kind of run with it. So I've never tried either one.
They saw Ballast Point do it, and Ballast Point is all in on the fruit beers. Every beer they have has a fruit variation.
Leading the charge for sure.
Yeah, they have a watermelon beer. They have mango,
pineapple, grapefruit, all sorts of stuff.
What are they missing? Passion fruit probably soon. I don't know.
Maybe just San Diego in general.
Yeah, just put whole San Diego.
They gave passion fruit to Green Flash, and on they go.
All right. So we're going to start probably with this Odd Side Ales.
Yeah, these guys are out of New Haven, Michigan. Okay. A very, very small brewery, and I've never even had any of their other beers. So
no, I saw a couple of them when I was at the store, and then I already had some of these heavy melons. I was like, all right, goes together. Let's do it.
So yeah, we're looking for some kind of lighter beers. Watermelon's kind of a delicate flavor, so we'll see how those flavors match up.
Let's do it. So that's a wheat beer, but it poured out very clear for your typical wheat beer.
Yeah, just a slight bit of haze, very, very light. I mean, especially coming out of the bottle, but kind of settled into a nice golden color there. You kind of expect that from this sort of style of beer.
And pretty good head when you poured it out, so that was kind of surprising.
Yeah, you wouldn't really expect too much from a style like this.
Maybe it's heavily carbonated, but I don't know, it's like a pillow of tiny bubbles. All right.
Looks good.
You get that watermelon aroma. Watermelon smells like BOE sometimes to me. Could be the smell of summer and just in my head.
I think onions smell like BO. If onions been sitting out for a little while, they smell like BO. And you're eating them and you loving it, and then you go to get a little bit more and you put some in your hand and you're like, why do I like this? But they're great.
All right.
So, but yeah, you definitely get it, and I think it's a little subtle. And I, for one, appreciate that. And in a fruit beer, I don't want to be knocked over the head with fruit. I just want to be kind of a subtle. I mean, you don't want to be sickeningly sweet and stuff like that. I still want it to be a beer. And that's what the aroma's telling me. I can smell a little bit of the rind. Mm-hmm. Smells a little green, Yeah,
it doesn't necessarily smell like juicy watermelon.
No.
It could be the hop pininess kind of kicking it a little bit too.
I'm sure it plays a part, yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's give it a try.
Cheers.
All right, it's really light mouthfeel. Oh, that end taste is kind of weird.
It has a doughy quality to the mouthfeel. And I kind of like that in a wheat beer. because it's such a light beer, having a little bit of that malt middle to fill it out a little bit is kind of nice to kind of distinguish it from, say, like an adjunct lager or something like that. Okay. So it just adds a little bit in the mouth.
But there's something, like, it finishes so clean. There's like a little bit of a weird aftertaste, but then it finishes and it's gone. I kind of like that because I don't like whatever that end finish is.
On this last sip, I got the kind of the dreaded Jolly Rancher distinguisher. And I don't say that in an unpleasant way necessarily. I like Jolly Ranchers, but it just kind of makes me think that maybe it's not a natural flavoring.
But look, they have these watermelons brewed it. It's on the bottle. They think they had a hand.
Wheat beer brewed with watermelon.
So yeah, we're not sure.
This is a very vague label that I'm surprised the TTB let pass through.
Beer brewed with ingredients.
Exactly.
So it could be like just an extract or fake kind of watermelon flavor.
Could be. I think I'm getting a little bit of that.
It's got to be tough. I guess watermelons are pretty juicy. Like, you're going to get a lot of liquid from them, but...
It's mostly water, though. You know, there's not like a ton of flavor in watermelon, so it's really hard to extract out. My guess is that most breweries that are making watermelon beer, they're not using just like fresh watermelon, but who's to say? I couldn't tell you for sure.
I don't know. It seems like you're wasting a lot of time and space. Like if you were like like cutting up and like mashing watermelons and just taking the time there. A little bit. This is fine.
Yeah, that does the job.
But as far as the watermelon flavor, it's not overpowering.
No. I think it's a pleasant beer.
Yeah, it's not bad. Especially for our first beer from Oddside. I don't know anything about them. They're from Grand Haven.
Oddside producing a watermelon beer. I don't know what's so odd about creating watermelon beer anymore.
Anymore, yeah.
Maybe 10 years ago or something. Mm-hmm. Even 5.
But yeah. All right, we'll finish this and see what New Belgium's got under their belt.
Yeah. Let's bring the heavy hitter in.
All right. So as we were getting into the beer, we realized the play on the word.
Wheatermelon.
Oh, man.
Also from Grand Haven and not New Haven.
Right. And then this is the Heavy Melon, like heavy metal, because it's got drumsticks on it.
Just keep the beer puns coming.
Yeah.
So everyone's run out of hop puns, so now we're working on watermelon puns. So yeah, the Heavy Melon from New Belgium.
So it's got watermelon and lime.
Right. So a little bit of a wrench thrown in there. So it's kind of an interesting combination to me because watermelon, as we kind of mentioned, is such a delicate thing, and lime is pretty aggressive. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. Let's do it. All right. We got a little bit of a darker beer and clearer.
Clearer. Yeah, noticeably. I mean, not a ton darker, but yeah, it definitely poured maybe a couple of shades on the darker side.
And then not as big of a billowy, puffy head. I guess, swirling it there, you kind of...
Yeah, you can build it up a little bit.
The other head was like almost white. This is kind of like a tan color.
Right, yep.
Yeah. And then the aroma's similar.
Yeah, I'm feeling like I'm smelling the same beer almost.
I think I get a little more watermelon, but I get like some malt in there too.
I definitely pick up on the malt. I mean, you're going to have a little bit more of a complex malt build based on the color, and I think that's showing through in the aroma as well.
Yeah. All right, let's give it a try. See if we get that lime with that watermelon.
Yeah, no lime to speak of
no.
right now.
All right, I get like no watermelon taste.
I get a little bit on the front end, but it finishes more like a beer. Finishes more just kind of like malty, toasty, malty, sweet.
Yeah, like I had just had a fat tire before this, and so did you. That was my first fat tire in probably, I don't know, like 5 years. And it reminds me of a fat tire. It has that same, like, maybe it's the yeast strain they're using.
Yeah, I would think it would be their house yeast character. It does have similarities with fat tire. I mean, given they are very, very different beers, but there are certain flavor characteristics that kind of weave in the same thread of those two beers.
But yeah, like it's much more roasty and full body, where the Wheatermelon was like very light and you said doughy in your mouth. This is like it's fuller feeling, I guess.
And as far as the lime is concerned, I think it's coming through just on the finish a little bit. So they're using it very conservatively, it seems, and it's there for a reason, a purpose. You kind of start out with that watermelon, you go through that malty, toasty middle, and then finish with a slightly tart hint of lime to kind of clean the palate, which it's a nice way to progress through a beer.
Because it does finish very clean,
yeah,
like the other beer did. So it's kind of nice. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I could drink a lot of it. It's heavily branded as being a watermelon beer, but if you didn't tell me, I might be like, what's in this? But yeah, it's certainly not like hit you over the head watermelon, which, again, I can kind of appreciate the restraint in that respect.
Sure, yeah. I think the watermelon's more in the aroma and like agitating the beer there. You kind of bring that out a little bit. But yeah, I dig this one. I think I would rather drink the New Belgium one over the Odd Side.
I'm probably with you on that. It's not really a competition here on the podcast, but if I was going to pick one up, I would go with New Belgium, I think.
But they were different. It wasn't like a back-to-back, like same beer, who can brew it better. So.
Yeah, I mean, certainly a different take, which is always nice to see. I wouldn't have expected the malt complexity to work like it did in this beer for a watermelon beer. But yeah, New Belgium has proved me wrong. It's delightful.
Yeah. So what's next? We had grapefruit, watermelon. Where are we going next? Goose has the cucumber.
Yep, correct.
We go mango. Is that gonna be big?
Mango is already a thing with Ballast Point.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm throwing my hat in for durian.
All right, I think coconut could come. We've had coconut water for a long time, and now we have watermelon water. So if you look at that, you may see like coconut beer.
I've seen, so like coconut is, typically thought of in a stout.
Yeah, like toasty.
Yep.
But if you use like coconut water kind of idea.
There has been some breweries that are playing around with coconut, like lighter beer, like pale ale type things, and has worked out very well. I mean, you would see like brown ales with coconut. That's a logical a flavor match. But some of the they're doing hoppy beers with coffee now, and hoppy beers with coconut. Not a lot, so that could be the next trend.
And we'd put rum and other things in Radlers. So a coconut pale ale with some rum.
I really like rum, so I'm on board. I was just talking about how a coworker brought in a cake that his wife had made, and it was a rum cake. Okay. And I'm typically not a dessert person, but there was a ton of rum in it, and I was like, oh. So if it's got rum, bring it to me.
Yeah, and watermelon, that's a weird thing to add like extra liquor to. You usually would see vodka.
Yeah.
And adding vodka to a beer, that does not sound good.
No. Not to say that I haven't done it, but it's not good.
All right. Well, I think that does it for these watermelon beers. Thanks for watching.
Stay fresh.